Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because we are unpacking something that is just absolutely crucial. We're going to uncover a hidden health crisis right now, one that's silently affecting teenagers everywhere. We'll be looking closely at some brand new CDC data, and I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you're going to see the health of the next generation in a totally different light. This is big, so let's just get right into it.
Section 1. The hidden epidemic.
When we think of a public health crisis, we usually expect obvious symptoms, right? Like alarm bells ringing in our communities. But what we're looking at today is a widespread problem that's literally hiding in plain sight. I want you to visualize something with me for just a second. Picture a group of teenagers walking down a brightly lit high school hallway. They're laughing, carrying their backpacks, just going about a totally normal day. Now look at any three teenagers in that group. Ask yourself, what do they share? Aside from the usual teenage stuff, there is a statistical reality connecting them that is completely invisible to the naked eye.
Here's the staggering reality. 1 in 3 of those teenagers likely has pre-diabetes. Yeah, think about that number. 1 out of every 3. If you're looking at a classroom of 30 students, that's 10 kids whose bodies are already struggling to manage blood sugar. And the absolute tragedy of this silent epidemic, most of them have absolutely zero idea. There are no immediate red flags, no pain, no early warnings, just a quiet, escalating risk.
Section 2. The shocking CDC data. Okay, let's dive into this. To really wrap our heads around the scale of what we're dealing with, we need to strip away the assumptions and just look purely at the hard facts. The latest July 2025 CDC National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey data, often just called NHANES, completely backs up what we're saying. It confirms that exactly 32.7% of 12 to 17-year-olds currently have prediabetes. Wow, let that sink in for a second. Nearly a third of our youth are standing right on the precipice of a severe chronic condition. The data is crystal clear, and it really removes any doubt about how severe this issue is across this age group.
And this brilliantly illustrates the trajectory we're on. Look at the growth of diabetes in youth since the year 2001. Type 1 diabetes, which is generally an autoimmune condition, has gone up 45%. Now that's concerning all on its own. But type 2 diabetes, which is heavily driven by lifestyle factors, has skyrocketed by an astounding 95% in that exact same time frame. It's essentially doubled. This proves we aren't just seeing some generic rise in illness. We are looking at a massive spike that is directly tied to modern environmental and lifestyle shifts.
Section 3. Why is this happening? So, how did we actually get to a point where a lifestyle-driven condition spikes by 95% in our kids? To answer that, we really have to look at the compounding, everyday lifestyle shifts that have totally reshaped how children live over the last couple of decades.
Based on the 2025 American Diabetes Association standards and recent metabolic research, we can isolate 3 primary culprits driving this crisis: ultra-processed foods, sedentary screen time, and poor sleep. It's the classic rule of 3, right? And it makes the root causes incredibly tangible. These aren't abstract medical mysteries. Nope, these are everyday elements sitting right there in almost every single household today. Let's break them down one by one.
First up, we've got to talk about what's on the plate. Children and adolescents are currently eating ultra-processed foods at absolute record levels. We're talking about foods engineered in a lab for maximum flavor and shelf life, but completely stripped of natural nutritional value and just loaded with additives. This unprecedented intake is directly flooding young bodies with sugars and refined carbs. And what happens? Well, it creates these rapid, massive insulin spikes that systematically exhaust a teenager's developing metabolic system. I mean, their bodies simply aren't equipped to process these continuous, highly refined loads all day long. Then there's the screen time. 7+ hours. That is how much sedentary screen time teenagers average every single day. That's literally the equivalent of a full-time job spent sitting perfectly still, just staring at a device. And this matters immensely because the human body relies on daily movement to help regulate insulin and absorb blood sugar into muscle tissue. When you replace active play or even just simple movement with 7 hours of total physical inactivity, the metabolic consequences are severe. Your muscles just aren't burning that circulating sugar, so it gets left trapped in the bloodstream.
And finally, the third big factor: poor sleep. It's so easy to dismiss a tired teenager as just being, well, a typical teenager. But medically speaking, poor sleep is a lifestyle factor that directly raises blood sugar levels in adolescence. It's not just about feeling a little groggy in morning math class. A lack of restorative sleep physically alters how a teenager's body regulates its blood sugar and drastically lowers insulin sensitivity. So when you combine bad food, zero movement, and terrible sleep, boom, you get that 95% spike in type 2 diabetes. Section 4. Actions parents can take. Now, I know all of this sounds incredibly alarming. The statistics are heavy, for sure. But we're going to pivot right now. Because this explainer is definitely not just about pointing out the problem. It is all about the solution. And there is an incredibly hopeful, upbeat, and encouraging path forward here. So the crucial point is that the solutions to disrupt this hidden epidemic are well within our grasp. According to the ADA standards for kids and teens, here are 3 highly actionable, family-focused steps you can literally implement today. Number 1, cook more at home. Let's replace those ultra-processed foods with colorful, healthy, real meals. Number 2, limit that sedentary screen time to break the cycle of inactivity. And number 3, prioritize sleep and daily movement. Think of stuff like families walking together in the park or simply ensuring a dark, quiet room for a child to sleep in. These are totally manageable, checklist changes. And I really want to reassure you, making these specific, manageable changes at home cuts your child's diabetes risk significantly. You don't need to wait around for some miracle cure or a sweeping government mandate to protect your kids. By taking control of the family environment, what's eaten at the kitchen table, how much the tablet is used, what time the lights go out, you are physically altering your child's metabolic future for the better. It's huge. Section 5, reversing the trend. This is exactly where we empower you, because parents are the ultimate active protectors of the next generation. The power to turn these 2025 CDC statistics around, it doesn't lie in a laboratory somewhere, it lies right in the home. It lies in the daily choices that shape how our teenagers live and grow. I want you to look at this quote and really take it to heart. Pre-diabetes in teens is reversible, but only if we act now. That is hands down the most important takeaway of this entire explainer. Pre-diabetes is a warning light on the dashboard. It is absolutely not a life sentence. The human body has an amazing capacity to heal and recalibrate, especially in youth. But that window of opportunity requires immediate, deliberate action. We've got to heed the warning.
As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a really clear call to action. First and foremost, always consult your doctor for personalized health advice regarding your kids. Medical professionals are absolutely your best partners in this journey. Furthermore, I'm asking you to share this explainer with other parents because everyone needs to see this data. And please be sure to follow Diabetes Destroyer as we continue to provide resources to protect the next generation.
I want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on as you go about the rest of your day. You've seen the hidden 1 in 3 statistic. You understand the profound impact of ultra-processed foods, screens, and poor sleep, and you know now that it is entirely reversible. So the only question left is this: will you take action today to protect the next generation? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.